Hello everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp. What have you been up to this weekend? I've been sat indoors playing Dragon Quest Monsters for the review, which will be out early next week. And now I'm sat in here making this sales video, which is what I would class as a bit of a hidden gem special. Now, after the big sales that we've had recently, I'll also be doing a few that are last minute pickups before those sales end, and then we'll get into the main brunt of it. But this is like a hidden gem Savaloy selection video, really. There shouldn't be anything too budget breaking that you can't add to your collection. GG to the winner of the free game this week. Your name is on the screen right now. Make sure you click all the buttons, leave a comment so that I can choose you, hopefully, for next week. And save yourself some money using our codes for both physical and digital. All of that's in the description. Right, what are the best games on sale? Well, let's find out, shall we? First of our last chance deals then, we've got Tiny Thought. This is a lovely platformer, a bit of a hidden gem in and of itself, and it's down 30% to just over £11. It's one of those where you can choose to move to the different stages, but you'll unlock hidden areas, and they're like brutal challenges. There's a bit of an RPG mechanic as well, in that you can actually upgrade your character with different abilities and enhance what they currently have. Ultra Age was made by a very small development team. It saw quite a few patches after release, and that's down 40%, which takes it to about 16 quid. Now, I really enjoyed this. I was massively impressed by the visuals for starters, but it was the combat that really sold it to me. You can switch between different swords, and I think the only real issue with it was the end game, like right at the very end. No spoilers, but yeah, it just doesn't end the best. Finally then, for your last chance pickups before they finish in a day, we've got Red Dead Redemption. I don't need to tell you much about this. It comes with the base game, and it also comes with the expansion, which has a bit of a zombie theme to it. But in case you missed it, you should definitely check out our review that we did the other day of Red Dead Redemption 2, in air quotes. Spoiler, it's not Red Dead Redemption 2. Alright, on to the Savaloy week then of hidden gems. First up in the EU region, we've got Farlone Sales. This is currently down 90%. That takes it to the massive price of £1.34. This one's a bit of a different spin on, it's not a walking simulator, but it's like an adventure where you're riding along on your ship and you have to maintain it as you go along. The environments are constantly changing, and it has that Snowpiercer vibe where they're constantly moving through this desolate wasteland, but every now and then something stands out and punctuates that stark background. A really nice little adventure. Not that long, you could finish it in about 3 or 4 hours, but at that price, definitely an essential little pickup. Then I saw the Survivalist Deluxe Edition, which includes all of the DLC, the bundles, the skins, and that's either 80% off here in the EU, but it's 90% off in the American regions, which takes it down to $2.69, which is just stupid. The amount of work that these developers have put into the game. It's also had some patches since it came out. And you're on an island trying to survive, but then you find some monkeys who you can essentially program to help you. They'll go out harvesting, collecting things for you. There's this shop that comes every now and then that I think is like a hot air balloon and lands, and you can even train your monkeys to defend you as well. While I wouldn't say it's the best in its genre, I do think it's more than good enough for that crazy price, and that one goes on until December the 24th. Now, Minute of Islands was actually a hidden gem once upon a time in one of these videos, but in the EU regions we've got it down 90% to £1.99. Now, sorry America, you don't actually have this one. Remember, you can actually just use a different eShop region if you like to do that. I know it can be a bit annoying, but there is that option. Now, Minute of Islands reminded me of an old school point and click in some ways. It's like a puzzle adventure set on that island, but it has such a cool art style. You play as Mo, who is essentially a tinkerer, or at least that's the blurb's description of her. She's decided, well, she's taken it upon herself to restore all of the machines in this world because they essentially protect it. Is another one that's not too long, maybe 5 or 6 hours to finish, but this is the cheapest it's ever been by quite a stretch. That sale goes on until December the 31st. If the term roguelite doesn't put you off straight away, as I know it does some people, but for those like me who absolutely love them, this is the cheapest we've ever seen on Going Under, and I have to be honest, previously I hadn't really played it just because I was playing other things, and I kind of looked at it and was like, nah, I'm alright, thanks. And then I saw a few of you saying, oh, you never talk about it, you should check it out. And it's very fun. It is very, it's a bit quirky. Like, you play as an intern who essentially uses different items of detritus and junk from around the office as weapons. It pokes fun at a lot of bubbles. And when I say bubbles, you may or may not know what I'm talking about. Things like certain aspects of cryptocurrency, some dating site startups. There'll be a few names that are loosely changed and you'll know who they're talking about. And back at the cafe area, after you've been out exploring and gathering different things, that's where your meta progression comes in, because you can then unlock things for further runs. And if you use a skill enough, then it will be endorsed, which basically means, yeah, it's going to be available for further runs. There are other co-workers that you can do different missions for as well, and I just think it's a fun game, one that got overlooked, and for just over £3, it's potentially going to be one you'll enjoy. That sale goes on until December the 16th. It wouldn't be right if I didn't buy a game, so I bought a game. No, it wasn't just to hear the little jingling sound that I'm addicted to. Alright, maybe it was a little bit, but still. The game that I purchased is called Itora, and I had never heard of it. It's a little platform RPG action game, and it's 70% off here in the EU regions. That took it down to £5.39, and essentially you play as someone who is the last human on Earth. It's super smooth, really easy to control, and I was just surprised by how good it was. As you'd expect when you're the last person alive, you are trying to figure out exactly why you are, and actually if you are, and yeah, I've just been surprised by how well it tells that story, especially as I usually know most of the games that have come out, well, the ones that look semi-decent. I haven't finished this one, but I understand it will take around 8 to 10 hours to do so. The sale for it goes on until December the 31st. Cattails has a sequel out called Cattails Wildwood Story, and well, based on my daughter who's been playing it non-stop since it came out, she tells me it is better in literally every way. Now, the ways that I can see are obviously visually it looks much nicer. There's far more to do within the universe. You can essentially start your own family, raise a litter of kittens, build and customize your town in any way you like, and expand your colony to try and get new residents to come and join you. You can also capture territory from other cats, but if you'd rather it was just a bit more chilled for a time, you can spend some time just growing your garden, decorating your den, or customizing your very own kitty. Now, there are 20 different cat types in the game that you can befriend or romance. Remember, it's okay, you are a cat yourself. But I saw her go through a dungeon and it had full-on like Zelda style dungeons with some logic puzzles that she had to solve, and yeah, it looked really good. It's £15.29, it's 10% off. I think it's well worth it from what I've seen, and that sale goes on until December the 20th. A bit of an indie gem then, we've got Ghost 1.0. This one's been out for a long time. Came back out, I think it was back in 2018 on the Switch. It's one of the first Metroidvanias I think I played on the Switch platform, and sure, you can tell it's made by a small dev team, like a very small team. I don't know if, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I think this might just be one person. Yeah, it's from Unepic Fran. And the protagonist is like a robot, but he has like a ghost in a shell, I guess, was probably a bit of an inspiration. So you can leave that shell at times. You've got the classic game mode, and there's also survival mode if you finish the main experience. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. It's about 13 to 15 hours long, and the whole thing fits into about 300 megs. The sale for that one goes on until December the 14th, 75% off. Another gem then is Streets of Rogue. Now, I'm sure there's a sequel to this. If it's not out on other platforms, it will be soon. But Streets of Rogue, this is the cheapest it's ever been. It's down to £4.49, 75% off. If you liked, Syndicate? Do you remember the Syndicate game, Syndicate Wars? This kind of has a Syndicate vibe. Now, don't get me wrong, you don't control a group of your syndicates or anything like that. You have like, I think it's like 30 or something different character archetypes. You choose one and that affects your skills, and then within each stage or like floor there are specific goals. Like, it might be you need to steal something, you might need to break into a specific area. It changes each time, but the way that you approach it is entirely up to you. And the way it reminded me of Syndicates, you have like people going around doing their own thing as well, and then you might have two different groups fighting each other, and it just had that feeling to me. It also has a brilliant co-op mode. If you can get a few people along for the ride, you're looking at 4-player offline on one Nintendo Switch or 4 players online. At 469 megs, that's not too shabby, and that sale goes on until December the 8th. No, it doesn't. It's December the 6th. Black Skylands has had a few patches since it came out. It's not perfect, but the game we still really enjoyed when we reviewed it on the channel. It's down to £11.69, that's 35% off. And this is quite a unique one. It has different elements mashed together, so it has an open world element, a sandbox, has that top-down shooter element to it, and also an adventure game where you can leave your ship. You play as Eva. It's a revenge story, and yeah, you can fight other people, take their gear, improve yours, also go on land and fight and do the same types of things to then build up, improve, and take new territory. I think is a really ambitious idea. Now, it didn't succeed in all areas. Performance was probably the main area, but I have seen a few patches drop since it came out, so I'm sure, go check out the review if you're not entirely convinced, but that is the cheapest that one's ever been, and I think 11 quid is just the sweet spot really for a real little gem. That one's on sale until December the 6th. Now, the official hidden gem of the week in what I think is a list filled with gems is a game called Deflector. Usually about 20 quid, it's currently £1.79. That's 91% off, and it was created by Arrow Fist Games. I think, if I remember correctly, this is one of their first real titles, and certainly their only game on Switch. Now, I'm almost positive it's one of their, it might even be their first ever game. If you're a fan of Hades, then you're going to love this roguelite. It has a bit of a Tron feel to it in the neon colours it uses, but the title comes from the fact that you have a deflector shield. So if enemies, you've got like a boomerang in one hand, and when you throw it, it'll kind of bounce back, but then you can deflect it with your own shield. If you can time it well enough, then it will increase the damage when it goes and hits the enemy again. Now, you can completely ignore that. If you don't like that, there's another character that doesn't have that shield. It has like a, I can't even remember, is it like a sword? Yeah, there's like a sword melee up close character who does more damage but doesn't have the ability to do that deflecting. And then there's other mechs that you unlock as well. There are 3 different play modes. I think there's 6 different arenas, like you actually unlock them from like a hub area. But I had a lot of fun with this, and I'm really surprised actually, because this didn't come out that long ago. It came out in September, so I'm quite surprised to see it drop down to that price. I think it's well worth that. That sale goes on until December the 30th. So that's it for this week. We did it slightly differently. There's so many Savaloys in this list that yeah, take your pick. As I say, we do have discounts to almost everything if you're interested. We get a little kickback from Nintendo when you buy eShop credit from our site and save yourself 10%. And obviously we have Play Asia, and some of these like Ghost 1.0 you can buy physical copies of over there, and you can save yourself some money there as well. Alright then, that means I have to make the video, then I can sit down and play some more Dragon Quest monsters. Thanks to our Patreons and members and all of you that do enjoy these videos. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys, see ya!